Hello and welcome to Health and Safety with the EDOC, the podcast where we provide you with a more digestible version of back-to-school guidance during the COVID pandemic. We are your hosts. I'm Jen. I'm a registered nurse, presently assigned to the EDOC.
And I'm John. I'm also a registered nurse with the EDOC.
Welcome to Episode 1, COVID Basics. So to get us started, John, can you tell us what COVID-19 is?
Well, COVID-19 is the official name of the disease caused by the virus SARS-CoV-2, or severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. The coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are known to cause mild to moderate respiratory infections. However, 3 strains have emerged from animal reservoirs to cause widespread illness and death. The first, severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS, first emerged in 2002 in China's Guangdong province. Then, in April of 2012, we had Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS-CoV, which emerged in Saudi Arabia. Finally, in December of 2019, the first cases of COVID-19 were reported in Wuhan, China. So that's where COVID came from. Jen, can you explain to the listeners how one becomes infected?
COVID is spread primarily through droplet transmission. Droplets are large particles of mucus and saliva that is then expelled when a person coughs, sneezes, or speaks. A person can then become infected when a droplet containing that virus is inhaled or is deposited on the mucous membranes, such as those that line the inside of the nose and mouth. This occurs when an infected person is in close proximity. Close proximity is defined when an individual is within 6 feet for greater than 15 minutes throughout a 24-hour period while wearing a mask, or within 6 feet for any amount of time while not wearing a mask. Another possible route of transmission is called airborne. Airborne is when the virus is suspended in small particles in the air for minutes to hours. If the ventilation in that area is poor, an individual could inhale these suspended particles and become infected.
And that's going to lead us to our mitigating factors, or the things that we can do to reduce the risk of contracting the disease to help break what we in the public health world call the chain of infection. So we know that COVID is primarily transmitted via droplets. And we know that these droplets are large and fall to the ground, usually within 6 feet. So the first thing we can do is to increase the physical distance between one person and another, so those droplets can't come into contact with mucous membranes. In addition, we want to put on a 2-layer face covering. The mask is going to help you from getting infected, as well as preventing onward transmission if you are infected. So what that means is you're wearing your mask to protect me, and I'm wearing my mask to protect you. Another mitigating procedure is to maintain good hand hygiene. Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20 seconds. Or if that's not available and your hands are not visibly dirty, you can use hand sanitizer containing at least 60% alcohol. You also want to be conscious not to touch your face throughout the day. You also want to avoid crowded indoor spaces and ensure indoor spaces that you do have to go in are properly ventilated by bringing in as much outdoor air as possible. And finally, if you're sick or you have symptoms, stay home, isolate yourself from others, and make sure you routinely clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces. We can all do our part to break the chain of infection by implementing all of these mitigating factors to help reduce the spread of COVID-19.
I'd like to take this time now to thank our listeners for joining us. And remember, if there's one item that you take away from this, please wear your mask. Protect me, protect you, and protect others. If you'd like additional information, it can be requested via email or outreach Rhode Island at ride.ri.gov or by calling the Education Operations Center. That number is area code 401-277-1440. On our next episode, we'll discuss the requirements for individuals returning to Rhode Island from out of state. Please visit Back to School RI for future podcasts. As always, we appreciate and encourage requests from our listeners for future topics. As the world we live in currently is unlike any experience we've previously had, the best we can do for each other is to share knowledge, best practices, and educate ourselves. So until next time, stay healthy and stay calm.